Yo, welcome back for day 2 of a brand new video here on the second channel. And today we're going to look at some more deck lists in Japan. Today, though, we're going to look at some rogue decks from Japan. Some stuff that people are cooking up that are a little bit more on the rogue side. In the last video, we did look at decks like Blissey, Luxray, Palafin, all that stuff. But now we're going to look at the rogue decks. What cool decks have people come up with? What cool combos have people come up with the new set here in Japan? Of course, the new set is coming out very, very soon here, and I definitely want to see what cool stuff is being cooked up in Japan, because who knows, maybe I'll do a video on something like that in the future when Twilight Masquerade does come out, which is like next week, I think. So we are getting very close to release of Twilight Masquerade, and I cannot wait to play the new cards, and I'm excited to look at some rogue decks. We're going to be on Okidogi here in the other section of deck lists. And then we're going to scout through Limitless here and look through the city leagues and see what cool rogue decks people have come up with. I have already seen a few interesting concepts here from the city leagues, which has inspired this video. So I'm excited to get into it. And if y'all are new here to the second channel, make sure to subscribe down below. We're on the road to 14,000 subscribers. It'd be greatly appreciated. And if you want to enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like. I'll leave a link to the sites I use in the description down below. And yeah, let's get into it. So we'll start off here on Okidogi before we go through Limitless. So starting things off here, the first deck we got is a Conkeldurr deck. Now, if you don't know what Conkeldurr is, I will pull it up here on Bulbapedia. We got Conkeldurr. It does have the attack Tantrum that does 80 for 1 energy, and then it confuses itself. And then you have your main attack, Gutsy Swing, which for a colorless and a fighting and 4 colorless energy does 250 damage. If this Pokemon is affected by a special condition, ignore all energy in its attack cost. That is kind of ridiculous, to be honest with you. And thankfully, it states special condition, not just confusion, because otherwise this would not have been very playable. So if we were to combine Conkeldurr with Brute Bonnet, you can basically poison the Conkeldurr, and then you get to do its attack for a single fighting energy. That is honestly pretty insane. Being able to attack for 1 fighting energy when you're poisoned is pretty nutty, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, yes, you're a stage 2, but when you're stage 2, that is 250 damage for 1 energy. I mean, that's not a bad trade-off at all. And we do see the build here playing a couple Cloth. It's basically just a Conkeldurr deck with 2 Cloth as a backup attacker. It's a lot of fighting Pokemon, so you're probably going to have a good time into Iron Hands or Lightning. Miraidon is making a comeback this format, which is a good thing for this deck. You even get some extra damage with Radiant Sneasler. So now you're doing 280 with Conkeldurr with the poison. If you were to play Perilous Jungle, I think that's an extra 50 damage. So now you're doing 300 damage. You have Max Belt to hit even harder. You got Defiance Band. Conkeldurr does look like it could actually be a pretty fun rogue deck that can do a ton of damage. We got an interesting Lost Box deck here using one of the new monkeys, I think it's called. Hold on, what's it called here? Okidogi? Yeah, Okidogi. Look, in the video where the EX of this got revealed, I didn't say it properly, and people were like, "Oh, bro, you got to pronounce the names properly." I'm bad with names. I have not played through the Scarlet and Violet games yet, so it does have that ability, Adrenaline Power. When there is a dark energy on it, it gets plus 100 HP, and then it also does 100 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. It's a pretty insane ability, and it basically has the attack Good Punch, which for 2 fighting and a dark energy, effectively, you get the extra boost of HP, and you get to do 170 damage. So we see a Lost Box version of the deck, which I think is probably the best way to build a deck like this, because you need to get 2 fightings and a dark energy on. It is awkward energy requirements. There are ways you could theoretically manipulate it, but I do think just Mirage gating to your guy is probably the best way to go about it. Just attach a fighting energy and then Mirage Gate, a dark and a fighting on, and boom, there you go, you powered it up. And it's not a bad one-prize attacker. A 230 HP Pokemon isn't bad for a one-prizer, especially in Lost Box, where, all your one-prizers are like Kramer and Sableye, Greninja, kind of weak attackers, where this thing is actually going to be doing not only a decent chunk of damage, but has enough HP to survive hits. And it does have some other attackers, more of a toolbox deck, because it's also got the new Ogerpon, that's got that Vulpix VSTAR ability, it's got the Ursaluna and the Roaring Moon. Naturally, Roaring Moon isn't bad in here, because you already have the dark energy in the deck. And we got another build here. Now, this one looks to be a little bit more of a turbo-y build of the Okidogi. It does have the Gutsy Pickaxe, which could be a way to build it up. You have 3 copies of Giovanni's Charisma, which can also theoretically put an energy onto your Okidogi. So it's an interesting idea. It might be a little bit too slow, but it could work. I mean, it's a cool concept. I guess you have the Morpeko, which you can use to look at the top card. If you see it's a fighting energy, you can leave it there and then Gutsy Pickaxe onto the Okidogi, I guess. I guess is the combo you're trying to go for. And we got a Rotom VSTAR deck. Rotom VSTAR, it's fine. You know, it does a lot of damage, can want to kill stuff. I don't think there's any new tools coming out in this new set to like really utilize. You can see it's playing a bunch of TMs. It's got the rescue board in the deck, EXP share. But yeah, there's no like insanely good TMs for the deck. It's just a Rotom deck. I mean, Rotom, I guess, gets this new Morpeko that lets you look at the top card of your deck. But overall, I don't think Rotom's like anything super crazy, but it's cool. We got a Torterra EX deck here. Another deck that doesn't look like that got too many new upgrades. I guess if you're going to play Torterra, though, you're going to have to play the new Rabska. Actually, no, Torterra did get a few new upgrades. And actually, I'm surprised this deck is not playing any copies of it. The new bug catching set. Yeah, so this new Torterra deck not playing the new bug catching set is kind of odd. Because that would actually be a good upgrade. Bug catching set lets you look at the top 7 cards of your deck, reveal any number of... Or you can get up to 2 grass energy and 2 grass Pokemon. That would actually be a good upgrade to this deck. That gives you more Pokemon search. So I feel like, I don't know. If I'm playing Torterra X, I'm definitely playing the bug catching set. We got another Okidogi set. Now, this one does have a Dusnoir. Now, well, not even a new Dusnoir. I don't know why it says new. This Dusnoir's got an ability that allows you, as often as you like, during your turn, you can move special energy around your board. That's basically what this Dusnoir does. So, you have the Luminous energy, and you have the new Legacy energy, and you can actually move the energy around to your Pokemon. So, the concept is you can move the energy around to your Okidogi, and your Monkey Dories. And I got the names mixed up there, Monkey Dory, and Okidogi, which you can move the energy around with Dusnoir to power them up. It does have Pidgeot in the deck and Radiant Shard. I guess like the only issue is how are you building up the Okidogi, though? Because you do need 3 energy on it, and that's not easy to do. So I still feel like you're a little bit on the slower end of like getting energy in play, but it's a cool concept to be able to move the energy around. You just have to find a way to power it up, because I don't see any way to power up the thing right now. We got a new Feraligatr deck here. Now, Feraligatr does, I guess, gain the Monkey Dory, which could be a decent upgrade to the deck. You can put the Luminous Energy onto your Monkey Dory. You can move some extra damage off your Pokemon with the Monkey Dory, which lets Feraligatr do a little bit more damage, technically, because you can take up to 30 damage off. I'm not sure how effective that'll be, but with Feraligatr's own ability that puts damage counters onto itself, I guess what you can do is you can go Feraligatr's ability, damage yourself, and then you can Monkey Dory some of that damage off to hit hard. And Feraligatr already does 280 damage with that ability boost. So with the Monkey Dory, that's 310 damage. If you have 2 Monkey Dories in play, you can actually do an extra 50 damage. So I guess double Monkey Dory does let your Feraligatr 1-hit KO with Charizard EX. You even have the Survival Cast in the deck, which is a cool concept because you can double Monkey Dory the damage off the Feraligatr, put the Feraligatr back to full HP, and then you can survival cast it so it can't get 1-hit KO. That's kind of spicy, actually. So, yeah, Monkey Dory with Feraligatr might be a really cool concept. I guess, like, the bench space, it's going to be a little limited here because you do have the Feraligatr, the Monkey Dory. You need to probably get Bibarel in play so you can draw cards, but Feraligatr is fairly low maintenance thanks to it being able to be searched out pretty easily with Irida. Another Conkeldurr deck here. With the Pidgeot, no, we don't see any Cloth in here, just plain Pidgeot, which is fine. You know, Pidgeot does support the deck. Again, Conkeldurr can do a ton of damage. This build actually plays the Secret Box A-Spec card to help you set up a little bit. It does play the Jamming Towers. Interestingly, there's no jungle in these 2 Conkeldurr builds we've looked at. But the new Conkeldurr deck definitely does look kind of cool. It definitely is one of the stronger Stage 2s. Honestly, Conkeldurr reminds me a little bit of Feraligatr. It's like big Stage 2 Pokemon from this new set that can do like an insane amount of damage, which is kind of sick. We got a Walking Wake deck here. And this Walking Wake deck doesn't play anything too crazy. It's just a Walking Wake deck, it looks like. That's Brute Bonnet. We got Claw, Fluttermane. Yeah, just a Walking Wake deck. Another Rotom VSTAR deck here. Playing Secret Box to, I guess, help find your stuff is a cool concept. You can use Secret Box to get your stuff, I guess, to set up, which is a decent idea. You can get Stadium. Yeah, it's okay, I guess. Yeah, Secret Box for Rotom. We got another interesting deck. We got a Pachirisu Ogerpon Rotom deck. So I guess it's more of a Pachirisu deck. But it does play the Ogerpon that lets you put a Grass Energy in play to draw a card. Interesting idea. I guess that's like kind of your draw engine, but you can also put energy onto your Ogerpon to power it up for an attack option. Now I gotta read the Ogerpon. The Ogerpon's to itself, right? Just making sure here. Let's see. That's the one prizer. All right. What does it do? Puts an energy. Yeah, it puts an energy onto itself. So I guess you just power up your own Ogerpon here. You can draw a card. It gives you like a mini draw engine, and then you have a grass attacker that can probably take out Charizard. I would imagine a deck like Pachirisu would probably struggle against Charizard. And we got another Rotom. Japan loves their Rotom decks. That's 2 Rotom decks we've looked at. Ooh, a Glaceon VSTAR deck, bro. I haven't seen Glaceon VSTAR used in a while. That's cool. It's a Lost Zone variant of the deck. Glaceon VSTAR does have an attack. I think it does 180 for 3 energy and retreat locks your opponent. And then you have the VSTAR power, which makes it immune to damage and attacks for like 1 turn, which is kind of cute. Yeah, it's an interesting idea. It's got Unfair Stamp as the A spec. Yeah, Lost Zone, Glaceon's cool. Again, I haven't played Glaceon V-Star in a long time. Forgot that card even existed. Leafeon, I guess, still exists too. We just don't have the good Leafeon V anymore. We got another interesting deck. Now, this one I do like. So we got a Garganacl deck with the Okidogi. So the Garganacl has an ability where you can attach a Fight Energy, I think it's from your discard or from your hand, to one of your Pokemon, and you can heal 30 damage from it, I'm pretty sure. Something like that. I guess I gotta look at this real quick. Let's see. You can't see this, but yeah, it's got the Energizing Rock Salt ability, where you can attach a Fight Energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon, then heal 30 from it. So that's how you're gonna power up your Okidogi, and I kind of like that. As a 1-prize and attacking deck, you want to have a good energy acceleration system, so you can play Garganacl's ability. You can have 2 of them in play, double Garganacl to your Okidogi, get 2 Fight Energy onto it, and then you can attach your Luminous or Legacy Energy to it to activate the ability with the Dark Energy effect on it. So that's a cool concept. I mean, that is one way to accelerate energy onto your Okidogi, is to play Garganacl. So I kind of like that idea. Fighting Pokemon do have some energy acceleration in the format, outside of like weird stuff like Gutsy Pickaxe, and this is one of the ways you can theoretically do it. All right, we got a really interesting deck here. It's a Mawile Froslass Mony Dory deck. So I kind of get the idea here. You do have the Froslass, which does have that ability, which if you don't know what Froslass does, you can pull it up here real quick. Froslass does have actually a really cool ability where you can get a lot of damage onto the board here. It's got that ability, Freezing Shroud. During Pokemon Checkup, you can put 1 damage counter on each Pokemon that has an ability, both yours and your opponent's, except Froslass. So basically, you have like 3 Froslass in play, and let's say your opponent's got like Bibarel, Pidgeot, Charizard in play. Over the course of 2 turns, that will put 6 damage counters on the board, basically. So you can put a lot of damage in play just with Froslass alone. It's got the Mony Dory in the deck, which does take damage from Froslass, but then you can Mony Dory the damage off of itself onto another one of your opponent's Pokemon with its ability, so you can remove the damage that it takes with Froslass's ability. It's got the Ursaluna. Now, the big thing is the Mawile. I think the strategy of the deck is if your opponent benches something, you try to Mawile trap it, and then you just sit there and build up a ton of damage. So basically, you win the game by stalling something in the active spot, and you just basically knock stuff out using Froslass Mony Dory. That's an interesting concept. This is a really cool deck idea, actually. See what I mean? There's a lot of really cool stuff in Japan. I love this deck. This is a really cool deck. I don't know how good it actually is, because Turo is a fairly popular card. And there's also the new Kirin supporter, which is looking to see some play. So I'm not too sure this is like a competitive deck, but as a fun rogue deck for a YouTube video, this one does pique my interest. Really cool idea. A lot of cool stuff you can do with Froslass. We got a deck here using the brand new Aggron, which I guess we can pull up here. The new Aggron does have the attack Angry Slam that does 50 damage for each of your Pokemon that have any damage counters on them. So that's kind of the main attack of Aggron. And then I guess what you do is you just, yeah, use Dodrio. Yep, use Dodrio. You put a bunch of damage in play, and then Aggron can do a lot of damage. For a Stage 2 attacker, it does hit pretty hard with Dodrio. You got the Scizor in the deck, so you have like a backup metal Pokemon. You know, Aggron is a Stage 2, but when you have the Scizor, you get a little bit more support on that end, which is kind of cool. So yeah, not a bad little Stage 2 attacking deck. We got a Blissey Arc deck. We actually seen a bit of Blissey at the Champions League that was streamed a couple weeks back. And Blissey actually did make a showing. Blissey with Mony Dory was seeing some play. I think we looked at some Blissey decks too. Blissey definitely does look like it's going to be a pretty playable EX card. It's actually one of the better EXs in the set, in my opinion. I think I had it as an honorable mention, my top 10 video, because Blissey's actually not bad. We got an interesting Metang Dialga deck playing Heatran. So I guess we can pull up what this new Heatran does here. So the new Heatran does have an ability where if it's in the active and it gets damaged, even if it gets knocked out, the packing Pokemon is burned, so it's a little bit of extra damage. And then, of course, you have the Attack Steel Burst. Discard all metal energy from this Pokemon, doing 50 damage for each card discarded in this way. As a 1-prize attacker, it can do some bits of damage. Overall, Dialga is probably just a better card. Yeah, you can use Metang to power up your Heatran, but you need, You need 5 energy alone to do 250, and then you need 6 to do 300. You need 7 energy to knock out Charizard EX. Even if you go 6 energy to do 300 damage, Charizard attacks you and they get burned, I think they're still surviving the turn. So I guess you have the Vitality Band, so you can do like 310, they knock you out, they get burned. I guess there's something there. I don't know. Heatran will be more probably for like a bad deck Friday deck, but Metang does exist as a way to power up the Heatran. We have another Arc Blissey deck here. We might have already looked at this already. I'm pretty sure we already looked at this list in the last video. Something like this. I remember the Articuno. We got a Quad Blissey. Quad Blissey does look pretty fun. Like I said, you got Charon's Care, Crushing Hammer. You got a really nice ability to move energy around. You got Judge and Eerie for some extra disruption. Definitely excited to try Quad Blissey out. We got an Omastar deck. So basically just a poor man's Lugia V-Star. Instead of using Lugia V-Star to get your Archeops out, you can use Omastar to search your deck for 2 Archons. And then you can go Archeops. You still have the Lugia partners like the Snorlax, the Cinchinos in there, the Ursaluna, and the new Ogerpon, and that does the 120, 100 damage snipe with the Legacy Energy combo. You got an Ogerpon Blissey deck. We may have already looked at this too, because it would have been under the Ogerpon category. We might have already looked at this Ogerpon deck. It is cool to see, though. You got the Blissey to move the energy around. You got all the different Ogerpon attackers to choose from. I guess more using the Grass guy, but yeah, we might have already looked at this deck list. We got a Cloth deck here, Cloth Cram, with the addition of Ursaluna. There's already like a Cloth Kramer deck in the format right now, and maybe I'll do a video on it very soon. But it uses Colress, Crisis Punch. You have, you got the Poison. This one does play the Dunsparce in the deck, which is an interesting idea. And I guess Bloodmoon Ursaluna does give you like an extra big attacker to work with, which is a cool idea. And that was it for this page here on Pokébook for these rogue decks. Now, we're going to scout through Limitless here, and we're actually going to see if we can find any more rogues and whatnot. We're going to go through some of these tournaments to see what we can see here for cool rogue decks. I think the first one I want to look at here is a Gardevoir Palkia deck. So I've been seeing a couple of these weird Gardevoir Palkia decks going on in Japan. It's definitely an interesting idea to play Palkia with Gardevoir, because it doesn't seem like there's any synergy between the two. But I guess like the idea is you already have Greninja and Drifloon, so like, you have your big attackers with the Drifloon and the Guardian. You got the Greninja in the deck. You can play Palkia with it, so you kind of threaten your opponent with Star Portal if they don't bench Manaphy. I guess that's the idea. But yeah, you're kind of just a hybrid of like Gardevoir, and then you just happen to have a 1/1 Palkia in the deck, because you're already playing 4 copies of Irida. So it's a really interesting idea, playing Guardian Palkia. I mean, Palkia has been splashed in stuff before, like Goldengo. Even Charizard Palkia has been a thing. So maybe, I don't know, maybe there's something to Guardy Palkia. I don't know. It's an interesting idea. It did get 2nd place at this City League. So I wanted to highlight that real quick. All right, this tournament here. Is there any spicy rogues? Don't see any. Go to the 3rd one here. Yeah, we do have a Blissey Froslass deck. Another version of Froslass. Like I said, using Froslass with Blissey isn't a bad idea, because you can get some extra damage in play with Froslass on your Blissey, and then you can move it off with Monkey Dory to do a little bit more damage. You still have like the tank potential with Hero's Cape and Charon's Care. Yeah, Blissey Froslass looks pretty good. More of a quad Blissey deck. Doesn't really have any other attackers. Just have that Monkey Dory in the deck, though. Monkey Dory Blissey will be good. Whether or not you want to play a Froslass in there, I guess will more or less be up to you. But it is cool. Cool to see nonetheless. All right, next tournament here. Any rogues? Ooh, we got the Thwacky Diplin deck here. This is, it's a cool 1-prize deck. If only Charizard stayed BAF. Because like I said, this deck is fun, but might take a big fat L to Dragapult due to all your Pokemon having very, very low HP. But you do have the Diplin here that can attack twice when you have the Festival Plasma in play. So it can do 200 damage for 1 energy if you have a full bench, which is nice. But it does suck that, like, Charizard will just probably eat this deck up. Or Dragapult, sorry. This deck will destroy Charizard probably. Like, Charizard's probably not a bad matchup for this deck. But against something like Dragapult, you might have a hard time. That's going to be the sad reality of playing that deck. See what any other rogues here. We got an Arc Blissey here to look at. Arc Blissey with the Ogerpon in the deck, the one that does have that Vulpix ability, which I guess I can pull up if nobody actually knows what it does. Has that ability where it can't be damaged by Pokemon with an ability. Very strong ability, right? A lot of Pokemon abilities do exist. I mean, even if you're playing against this deck, you can't be attacked by the Blissey or the Arceus V-Star. But yeah, Blissey, I guess these like Blissey toolbox pile decks, they're going to exist. And I'm excited for it. I'm excited. We haven't really had a playable Blissey in like a while, I don't think. So it's kind of refreshing to see that. We got a Blissey Ogerpon deck here. More of a grass toolbox deck. Does have the 4 copies of the Ogerpon, but also plays the Tropius. I don't know if this Tropius does anything crazy. Just this 130 moves all the energy from it. So I guess you can move energy to a Blissey attack and then move the energy back onto your Blissey or something. Because you know the Blissey is hard to one-shot. If it can't get one-shot, you can, like, Tropius, move the energy off back to your Blissey. So I guess there is, like, an interesting synergy there. Yeah, cool concept for sure. Blissey with the Ogerpon is nice because you can put the energy in play with Ogerpon, right? You can move it off with Blissey's ability here with that Happy Switch ability. So yeah, that's cool. Cool stuff. I like it. Let's see. We got a Raging Bolt Ogerpon deck here. So this is something I've actually been seeing on Twitter, is Ogerpon Raging Bolt. So this actually does seem like it does have potential. So Ogerpon has that ability where you can put a grass energy from your hand onto it and then you can draw a card. That is extra energy your opponent play for your Raging Bolt. Raging Bolt does have that attack that does 70 damage. Discard any amount of basic energy from your board, doing 70 damage. For each energy discarded in this way. So you put a bunch of energy in play with the Ogerpon, and then you can Raging Bolt the energy off. So you kind of have a built-in energy acceleration system with the Ogerpon. You don't have to play, I mean, this build here, not playing any Sandy Shocks, which is usually a partner you'll see within Raging Bolt. So it's a very interesting concept for Raging Bolt. And yeah, Raging Bolt with the Ogerpon does look like it could be a playable concept for sure. And I'm definitely excited to try it out. I've been seeing a lot of it on Twitter, and I think there's another list here for this deck we're going to take a look at very, very soon. There's a Blissey Entei deck here. Woo, Blissey Fire Attacker is another cool rogue deck. I mean, Magma Basin's not a bad idea. You can Magma Basin energy on your bench Pokemon. You can Blissey to move that energy around. You got the Mela in the deck for some more energy acceleration. Very interesting concept, though, too. It's playing Gouging Fire. That's not a card you usually see, deck played Magma Basin, right? That's interesting. You got Delphox in the deck you can use. If you get a bunch of Blisses in play, you can sometimes have a Delphox out of nowhere. It's kind of like a poor man's Armor Rouge, basically, having the Delphox in the deck, too. So the Gouging Fire is the one thing that kind of caught my attention there. That's an interesting concept. This build here that won this tournament was a Greninja Froslass. Now, I kind of like this idea. Greninja Froslass is an interesting concept because Froslass does get extra damage on the board. It's actually a great way to deal with Manaphy, too. Froslass's ability does stack against Manaphy. If you're playing against Greninja EX, you're probably going to bench Manaphy, right? Because of Greninja's snipe attack. So, when they do that, you can put a bunch of Froslass down, and over time, you can knock out the Manaphy. I think, actually, if you get like 3 Froslass in play, the Manaphy will take 60 damage, and then you can bench Hawlucha on that turn to then knock him out. You can even play Radiant Alakazam in the deck if you want to go down that route, too, to knock out their Manaphy. But with enough Froslass in play, the Manaphy actually will get knocked out, and then you can actually get access to Greninja's snipe attacks. That's a cool idea. So yeah, Froslass and Greninja might have some synergy. I'm definitely going to be trying out that when the set comes out. Another Arc Blissey deck here. Now, it does have one card, so I looked at this deck earlier. It does have one card we don't have, and I don't think we're ever going to get, unfortunately, is Quagsire V, the lost V card that we are never getting. A Quagsire V. It's nothing too crazy, but it does have an interesting ability and attack. Unaware, prevent all effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. Done this Pokemon. Can't be Frenzy Gouging. Can't be Lost Mind or Star Requiem. Regidrago, why you gotta fall off, bro? Mid-recording. But then it's got Mudhead, which for 2 water and a colorless energy, if it has any fighting energy on it, does 120 more damage. So it actually does 220 damage. You could probably play this within a Lost Box deck. That may have been the best way to play with Lost Box. I guess would have been the best way to play Quagsire. But yeah, we're never getting this card, I don't think. It would have came out by now. There's no way they're going to release a V card in 2024 when V Pokemon haven't been printed in over, 2 years now, since 2022 with Lugia. We're probably never seeing this card get released, unfortunately. But it's cool. You can put the energy in play with Blissey, obviously, move it around, or move the energy around to the Quagsire Blissey. And yeah, it's an interesting card. So yeah, but we're never getting it, like I said. We're never getting Quagsire, which is kind of sad. Got a Roymoon Darkrai deck here. That's cool. Turbo Moon with a 1/1 Darkrai to reuse the Prime Catcher is a cool concept. Let's see, what else do we got here? Any other rogues to look at? Got a couple of Raging Bolts here. I guess we can pull up 2 of them. We got the Sandy Shocks Turbo Raging Bolt. And we got a Palkia Raging Bolt here with the Ursaluna. Could be a decent addition to the deck. I mean, nothing there. It's another Blissey deck. We could pull it up, I guess, but yeah, we can pass on that, I guess, for now. Raikou Regilecki. I don't know why I said... I thought it was some kind of different, Regilecki deck there, because it said Raikou Regilecki. I guess it was a Miraidon deck, though. Yo, Regidrago Ogerpon. Now, this is up my alley. I'm a big fan of Regidrago VSTAR. I just did a video on it, last week or something? 2 weeks ago? So I'm excited to try Regidrago with Ogerpon, because you can, Ogerpon the energy into play. You can energy switch to your Regidrago, Regidrago does get a new upgrade with Dragapult EX, right? Dragapult EX does upgrade Regidrago quite a bit because now you have another big attack for the deck. The deck also plays Raging Bolt and Gouging and Noivern. No Giratina in the deck, actually, which is something we haven't really seen before. Also playing Hawlucha. You're kind of like a pseudo... I mean, honestly, you're kind of a pseudo Dragapult deck, right? Because you're leaning more into the Dragapult attack. You got the TM Devo, you got the Hawlucha in the deck, the double Dragapult. Kind of just turbo Regidrago. I mean, it's possible to get a turn 1... or turn 2, I guess, Regidrago off. You'd have to go like attach, because you have to evolve, right? You go attach, evolve, attach, energy switch with your Ogerpon to your Drago. That's a cool idea. I'm excited to play that for sure. Definitely a big fan of Regidrago, so I'm happy to play it. We got another Raging Bolt Ogerpon deck here I wanted to pull up. Now, this one is a little bit more straightforward. The other build we looked at was more of like a toolbox. This one is super straightforward and just trying to do what it does best. You got the 3 Ogerpon. Does still have the Sandy Shocks. I think you'd still probably want to play Sandy Shocks in the deck anyways to get energy in play. But yeah, this deck is getting a bit of hype on Twitter. I've already seen a lot of Raging Bolt discussion on Twitter, and this has been one of the decks people are excited to try out is Raging Bolt with Ogerpon. Because like I said, use the Ogerpon, get in Grass Energy in play, power up Raging Bolt's big attack. You have Sada, you got Sandy Shocks, and every turn you just kind of one-hit KO everything thanks to the combination of Raging Bolt and Ogerpon. How good is the deck actually going to be? We'll have to see. I will say this. If Dragapult actually becomes a huge meta deck and Charizard gets bullied out of the meta enough, even though this deck maybe can stand up to Charizard, though it probably loses to Radiant Charizard, you can eventually just kind of run Dragapult over. Dragapult will probably struggle against some of these bigger basic decks, especially ones that can like OHKO you every single turn. Like I would imagine this deck just probably stomps all over Dragapult. It did win the tournament, though it had to take down, looks like 2 Miraidon decks. There's another Raging Bolt Ogerpon deck in this tournament too. I think actually they're both playing the same list, it looks like. Yeah, same 60, because it even says down there. So that's cool to see. Yeah, who knows? There might be something to Raging Bolt. I mean, Raging Bolt does probably beat Dragapult, right? We already clicked on that tournament. Guess we could look at the Arc Blissey deck again here. Yeah, Arc Blissey, basically just an Arc deck. But you do have the, got the Fighting Ogerpon in the deck for some extra support. It looks like, what do we got here? Palkia Raging Bolt, I guess we can look at. Yeah, Palkia Raging Bolt looks kind of cool, too. And that might be able to beat... Dragapult also, so there you go. More anti-Dragapult stuff. Yeah, Raging Bolt might actually be good. I think Raging Bolt, I guess, could be good because it does seem like one of the only decks that can stand up to our Dragapult, right? So we'll have to see. We got a Lost Zone Raging Bolt deck here. Playing Rotom. I guess the Rotom, cool addition. Like I said, Rotom might be popular now in Lost Zone decks because of the build from Stockholm with Hermione. What he played with the Rotom was really, really cool. It's got the Ursaluna in the deck. Obviously, Raging Bolt's like the only attacker you kind of need for your big EX, but it does have the Ursaluna, because Ursaluna is just too good not to play in a Lost Zone deck, so makes sense, makes sense. We already looked at that tournament. I think that was the one I just clicked on. Oops. Unfortunately, we can't see the deck that won this tournament. We have another Ogerpon Raging Bolt deck in this tournament, and then we had a Walking Wake deck in top 16, a Walking Wake Fluttermane Cloth deck. We did look at something similar earlier on in the video. Cool stuff. All right, what do we got here? Got some Goldengo. I don't know how good Goldengo is going to be. Just kind of feels like it's not great against Dragapult. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's good. Yo, another Regidrago Ogerpon deck. Let's go. This one, similar to the other one, does have like the same attacker lineup. Dragapult, Gouging, Bolt, and Noivern. Does have the Charizard. But yeah, this deck definitely has potential to be good. Regidrago maybe could finally shine with the addition of Energy Switch and the new Grass Ogerpon. I'm excited to try this out. Like I said, I'm excited, man. I love Regidrago. And hopefully, like we keep saying this every time we get a new Dragon Pokemon, hopefully it's enough to make the card good, and maybe it is. Raging Bolt Porygon. See, yo, the Rogues in Japan, I love it. So this Porygon is not new. It's actually from Paradox Rift. It's got the ability Buggy Turbo. Once your turn, you can flip a coin of heads, attach up the 4 energy from your discard pile to it. If tails, discard energy from it. It's not because you want to attack with it. It's because you want to use that ability for Raging Bolt. That is really cool. Raging Bolt Porygon. Bro, I already have like 3 other Raging Bolt deck ideas cooked up for future videos. I kind of want to play this now. This actually, because you can play this right now in our current format. That's a really cool deck idea. Jeez. Keep your eye on the channel. I'm definitely going to cook something up with that. That's a really interesting concept. I never did a video on that Porygon yet, so definitely want to try that out now. That's really cool, actually. That's really, really cool. That's a sick idea. I definitely want to try that out. I guess we can pull up the Iron Thorns. Iron Thorns, you know, seems cool still. I don't know how it's doing against Dragapult, because we haven't been seeing as many quad Iron Thorns as we did before the release of Mask of Change in Japan when they got Dragapult, because it does seem like Dragapult maybe is going to be really good against this deck, because Dragapult doesn't really care about the Iron Thorns. If they're playing the Dracloak and they have the Xatu in the deck, it's like, who cares? But Raging Bolt, Iron Thorns could still be good against other decks. Like I said, being able to block abilities is really strong. Well, you're blocking rule box abilities, but you still have like Hammer. I guess Hammer is good against Dragapult. That could be a strong concept. Interesting Ogerpon future deck here. So it's playing the Ogerpon with Iron Leaves as your main attacker. Of course, Iron Leaves does have that damage boost with the Iron Crown. Got the Miraidon to get energy in play. You have multiple ways to get energy in play. You can use Ogerpon to put energy in play for your Iron Leaves. You put the energy in play with Ogerpon, then you bench the Iron Leaves, use the ability, then you got the damage boost with the booster capsule, the crown. Cool idea. Yeah, kind of would do good in the meta, right? Because you can, like, trade into stuff. And then, of course, you have the bug catching set, which is a cool idea to find your Pokemon. Because you have Nest Ball, bug catching set, and Techno Radar. But bug catching set does get you energy, too, which you need energy in your hand for the Ogerpon. That's a cool idea. A future build of the deck's kind of cool. We got another tournament here that was won by the Raging Bolt Ogerpon deck. That's quite interesting. So yeah, like I said, maybe there's going to be something to that deck in the Dragapult meta. Another Froslass Greninja deck in this tournament. Now this one is a lot more straightforward. It's got 4/4 Froslass, so really leaning in to the Froslass in this build here. But yeah, Froslass Greninja does seem good. I mean, it's more damage for Greninja. Even if you're not using it to like manipulate damage on something like Manaphy, you are at least putting more damage in play for Greninja to do more damage, right? Greninja's a cool card, but its damage output is a little lacking. It only does 170 damage that first attack, right? So when you have the Froslass, you are hitting a little bit harder, which is a cool concept. So definitely going to try out that for sure. I'm excited to play Greninja too. That's another card that has me pretty excited. Any other rogues here? Let's see. Go here. Oh, here we go. We got another interesting Ogerpon. We got Ogerpon with Sinistcha. I think we've looked at deck lists already for these in the last video, but we'll pull it up again. It's got that attack where you can choose one of your opponent's Pokemon, you put 2 damage counters on it, for each basic grass in your discard pile, and then you put all the energy back in your deck. It's very similar to the Basculegion and the Volcarona V, where you put the energy back in the deck. And then you put the energy in the discard with Blubbering Tea, discard up to 3 energy from your Pokemon in play, doing 70 damage for each card, discard in this way. And then, of course, you put the energy in play with Ogerpon, and then you discard it, and then you get it back with this guy. So you kind of do like a little like combo with those. And that could be a fun deck. I mean, it did do okay in this tournament, got top 8, right? So, I mean, that deck might struggle into Dragapult, though, right? Just because a lot of low HP Pokemon in the deck. Kind of scary. Another Greninja Froslass deck here. Playing Palkia VSTAR 2 for some extra damage, it looks like. Yo, even playing the other Greninja EX. Yeah, there's 2 Greninjas in the format. You got the Fighting Greninja EX, and then you have the Water Greninja EX. So 2 different Greninjas in the format. There could be some potential with the Water Greninja in the deck, because it does give you a little bit of a harder hitter in the deck, which is cool, I guess. So you got that in the deck, too. This tournament here, we actually saw the Luxray EX Miraidon deck win it. So yeah, Luxray EX does look like it will be a strong card. If you don't know what it does have that ability, or not ability, but 2 attacks. You got the attack where you can look at your opponent's hand, discard a card you find there, and then you have Bull Strike, just doing a nice solid 250 damage. And that honestly might be enough for this card to see play. Maybe not even doing that first attack as like a lock combo. You can use that other attack to take big knockouts. And this build is basically just like Turbo Miraidon, but has Luxray. You could still use the Luxray, though, as an annoying attacker. There's no Judge or Roxanne or Unfair Stamp for the Ace spec, but, you know, Luxray can still just be a very strong card in general. Like, sometimes discarding a card is more than enough to take big knockouts, right? So that idea is still very relevant in that deck. So maybe that's kind of what the deck's trying to go for. Another Greninja Froslass deck here, playing the Ogerpon. That's cool stuff. We got a Palkia Articuno deck here. Yo, Articuno Monkey Dory? Yo. So yeah, Articuno takes damage when you do Wild Freeze, but you can actually Monkey Dory the damage off of it every turn to heal it. So you can kind of paralyze loop your opponent every single turn with the combination of Monkey Dory and Articuno. See, rogue decks, and there are a lot of cool ones, and this is a very spicy idea. It's a paralyze loop Articuno deck. You can start Portal the energy on your Articuno, and you just paralyze your opponent over and over again, and you Monkey Dory the damage off your Articuno. You basically heal the Articuno every turn, because it does take the 50 damage, and then you can just move it off with Monkey Dory, and then you can just kind of keep doing it until you knock something out, and it'll knock your Articuno out, and then you have another Articuno you go into. That's a really cool deck idea. Spicy stuff. I'm excited for these Monkey Dory decks, for sure, and that's a very unique Monkey Dory idea. It's a great Tusk Mill deck here. I guess it does get 1 new card with a new set. Tasigiri seems like it's a nice upgrade to the Great Tusk deck. Another Ogerpon Raging Bolt deck playing Volbeat. If you go first, you can use the attack. Search deck for 2 basic Pokemon, put them on your bench. Huh. I guess it's a way to power up your bench, I guess. Interesting idea. We got another Greninja Froslass deck here in this tournament. Another very straightforward build playing the 4/4 Froslass. And is that a Ting-Lu deck I see? I mean, Ting-Lu could be good. Yeah, Ting-Lu with Ogerpon and Koraidon. Yo, for all you Ting-Lu believers out there, could this finally be the best way to play Ting-Lu? Is going to be the new Ogerpon. Because now you get a really good Pokemon that's immune to Pokemon with abilities, which is a pretty good, pretty good combo in my opinion, right? Ting-Lu blocks abilities, you use Iron Valiant, you can ping damage, and then you can like block abilities and then block Pokemon with abilities from even attacking your Ogerpon. So you kind of like, Pokemon with abilities are going to be having a bad time no matter what with this concept, I guess. That's cool. Yeah, I like it. And also, being a fighting deck is just good. I mean, Miraidon's making a comeback in the format, so it's not a bad idea. Just play a fighting deck then, right? So that could be decent, actually. I like the idea of it. A lot of Giratina winning these tournaments. Yo, we got a Froslass Mony Dory deck. Yeah, very similar to what we saw earlier. Is this the same? No, it's not the same 60, because I don't think the other build we looked at of this Froslass deck played the Radiant Serena in the deck, because I know it played 3 Mawile, but it's another concept where you Mawile trap something, and then you put a bunch of damage in play with Froslass, and you move the damage off with Mony Dory off your Pokemon, and you just try to take knockouts while trapping something infinitely with Mawile. There's a lot of potential for this idea. Again, I don't know how competitive it's going to be. I mean, hey, it didn't do bad in this tournament, though, so I don't know. Maybe there is something to that idea. We got a Gouging Fire deck here with Mony Dory. Not bad. I mean, you're basing damage on your bench Pokemon, I guess. You can move the damage off with Mony Dory. And it does let Gouging Fire hit a little bit harder. An Arc Gudra deck here, Arc Goo Vulpix. I don't know, would that be good into Dragapult? I guess we'll have to see. Arc Biles do seem okay into Dragapult, though, overall. Just because Arc is, like, really bulky. There's a lot of attackers you can choose from to, like, deal with Dragapult, I guess. So there is that. So that could be kind of cool. Another Greninja Froslass deck in this tournament. Playing the 4/4 Froslass line again. Maybe that's the best way to play Greninja. Because we're seeing all these like Greninja Pidgeot decks not go anywhere. Because look at this. Like, there's 2 Greninja Froslass decks in this tournament. 2 of them. So yeah, maybe Greninja Froslass is the best way to play Froslass. Who knows? There's going to be a lot of cool ways to play Froslass for sure. It's got a very good ability. So it'll be cool to see what other deck ideas people come up with for the deck. And maybe it is the best way to just play it. An interesting Blissey Palkia deck here. Actually won this tournament. I like the idea of it. Blissey definitely could work with Palkia. You can Star Pearl the energy in play, and then gives the energy acceleration, and you got that Blissey ability to move the energy around. You're still playing the Mony Dory in the deck. It's just kind of a staple within Blissey. I like the idea of it. Yeah, Blissey Palkia seems cool. It did win the tournament. Actually, it looks like it beat a Miraidon deck in the finals. That's cool to see. Yeah, cool stuff, cool stuff. We got 2 more tournaments here we can quickly look at here. Yo, Toadscruel Ogerpon. Yo, that's, I guess, one way to power up Toadscruel. So Toadscruel EX did lose Charm, right? Losing Charm kind of sucks. You can't, get the energy in play on all your Pokemon as easily for Toadscruel's attack to do 280 damage. But what if we did the poor man's version and played Ogerpon, put a bunch of Ogerpons down, put a bunch of energy on your Ogerpons, and then attack with Toadscruel? I don't know. There's something to it. I like the idea of that. I think we looked at a Blissey Toadscruel deck or something similar to that in the last video, if I remember correctly. So I don't know, man. Toadscruel, Ogerpon, fun little rogue. It actually did do okay in this tournament. Got top 16, right? So I'm just saying there could be potential for that type of deck. In this last tournament, we'll just do this. There's a lot of tournaments to look at. There was a Zoroark VSTAR deck in this tournament. Zoroark VSTAR seems okay. Does big damage. I guess like Dragapult might be a little annoying. You can't really play Loichi Pokemon as much anymore because Dragapult eats you up because you're already playing the Gape Jaw Bog. You're fueling Dragapult's spread attack, basically, which could be a little scary. We got another Diplin deck here to look at. Playing the 2/1 Rapska to help against Dragapult. You got the Thwackey and the Diplin. Yeah, there is potential for this deck. I mean, sucks that his Dragapult matchup's pretty bad, but I mean, I'll be happy to see if somebody ever gets like day 2 at a tournament with the Diplin deck. It really depends on Charizard's popularity, right? I mean, there's one Charizard deck in this entire tournament, but it is what it is. But there you go. I think we'll stop there. There's a lot of decks to look at. But yeah, you can see the City League seasons conclude on May 6th. But those are all the updated City Leagues here to look at. A lot of really cool rogue decks, Greninja Froslass, a lot of really cool Mony Dory combos. And then, of course, we saw some cool stuff here in this rogue category, like the Froslass Mawile deck. That one has me excited. And the favorite one I liked was the Conkeldurr decks. Conkeldurr definitely looks like it'll be a fun Stage 2 attacker. But hope you all enjoyed the video looking at some rogue decks from Twilight Masquerade. Trying to stray away from the meta stuff like Dragapult and stuff, and more looking into what rogues people are coming up with. A lot of really cool Monkey Dory decks. Froslass, Greninja looks pretty good. I'm excited to play all these new cards when the new set comes out. And hopefully this video helps you get hyped for the release of Twilight Masquerade. I can't wait for the new cards and hope you are excited too. And if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. I'll leave a link to the sites down below, like I said, that I used in today's video if you want to look at any of these decks and build them when the set comes out and all that good stuff. And thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you on another video. Bye-bye.